Okay, sir. So first of all, how are you doing and how are you holding up during the quarantine of all things, of all this madness?
Well, I've kind of just been like staying home. My family's been back, so it's been a lot easier that way. I've been playing a lot of video games. I've been streaming, doing a couple auditions here and there during all this. It's crazy, but I've been just kind of like trying to keep it together. My lifestyle actually hasn't changed much. I'm kind of an introvert or kind of like a hermit, but I very much would like to, go hang out with friends and in public places, but safety first, social distancing, and make sure everyone does that. Don't try not to go outside. Keep your distances, all that stuff. Be safe.
Exactly. And in this kind of like modern connected world of ours, we're kind of more easily able to do that than normal. I mean, on the 17th, when the new season comes out, people can just stay inside and watch all 10 episodes of season 2. Perfectly good time to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of trying to bring everyone together right now. During this time, like even without all this stuff, it's a show for like anyone can watch it, but especially if you could watch it with your family, that's like obviously a plus. But if you want to watch it, then during like that time, like all at once, then yeah, sure. But it's also great to just kind of watch standalone. It's great to watch it at your own pace. But yeah, if you want to just like binge it, just go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Is it weird for you at all to be playing a character who's trying to find ways to survive during an apocalypse while also kind of living through a sort of mini apocalypse yourself? Is that a weird kind of counter to reality?
It is very much. It is very much like a strange coincidence. When I recorded this, I didn't think any of this stuff would actually go ahead and happen like this. But it is very strange to think about. Yeah.
Who do you think makes better food decisions in an apocalypse? Do you think you do, or do you think Jack does? Because we get to see him pig out a couple times too. So just curious about your culinary tastes. Yeah.
Both me and Jack are probably equally bad in that sense. Oh man, yeah. I try. I'll obviously during these times I have to go to the grocery store, I'll go with my dad because we obviously need it for like the whole family. And, usually we try to go to Whole Foods because we try to get like, the healthiest options, available. And obviously, we have to, everyone does like a really good job kind of like staying like 6 feet apart and all that. So yeah, basically, sorry, I'm getting off track. What I usually end up getting is like, Whole Foods has this like awesome carrot cake that I end up buying, and I get some like chips. Yeah, and I guess we got some. But hey, it's like all natural. So I mean, right?
Yeah, sure.
I guess that's a point.
There's carrots in there. Yeah.
That's a point for Jack, right? Yeah, but I try to even some stuff out in there. I get some like good stuff for vitamin C, get some nice dairy. But it's like a mix of both, I guess.
Exactly, because it's funny that you say that because I follow your Twitter as well, and you post some insane food concoctions on there that get all kinds of reactions from people. So just wanted to call that out too, yeah.
You want to talk about the forbidden treat?
Exactly.
Okay, I'll just say this real quick. So for those that don't know, occasionally on Twitter, I'll just like post. None of them are mine, by the way. I just want to preface. None of these are mine. I just find them online in random places on like a fifth page of like every Google Images.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're just like these like random concoctions of things, different foods you should never put together in your entire life. And if you want to see those, they're on my Twitter. So there you go.
Just remember, before you eat any of them, you have to microwave them first. That's the rule. You have to microwave them first.
Yeah, no, definitely. You gotta microwave them. You gotta cook them. Safety first and all that.
Exactly. Getting back to the show real quick, I'm not sure when you recorded, your parts for season 1 versus season 2, but did you do anything different with your performance between the two seasons to kind of show that Jack has matured a little bit since season 1, or he's growing up a little bit in season 2? Any differences for you?
Actually, yeah. From what I can tell, eventually, I remember I recorded the first season about 2 years ago now. It was actually like a year and a half, or maybe a little more, a year and 3/4. But that being said, yeah, I think my voice for Jack over time, after the special, I think my voice for Jack got naturally deeper and more into my normal voice. If you watch the season 2 trailer, you can kind of tell. But my voice for Jack eventually kind of started off as like a higher version of my own voice, and like it still kind of is to an extent. Like you don't want to get down here all gravelly, but yeah, no, it is very much. It very much, I think, evolved into my normal voice. Especially during the first season. Like if you watch the new season trailer, you can totally tell.
How would you compare maybe your approach to Jack as a character versus some other characters that you've voiced? Do you think about that at all when you go into that, or do you just work with the voice directors and the directors to find a voice for Jack and then just kind of stick with that and you don't think about your other characters?
Well, I usually am given some inspiration. I was given inspiration, or I was given like specific character direction and inspiration when it came to actually voicing Jack. Mm-hmm. One of which was Jack from Big Trouble in Little China, who actually I took big inspiration from, Kurt Russell. So that was like definitely the biggest inspiration. And then obviously I think Bruce Campbell as well, who plays Ash, who's actually in this new season. He plays chef. Yep. And Dirk gets into, speaking of cooking, Dirk gets into some cooking shenanigans with him that I really like. But yeah, it's in terms of like actual like inspiration, I kind of like it sometimes just kind of happens unintentionally. Like if I see a line that I like, I will sometimes remember like the way I like heard a line said in like some show years ago, and I'll try to kind of put my own spin on it. Yeah. Like if it's something like really kind of like epic sounding or something, I'll try and do my best to like, like, okay, how did they say it? Okay, I'll do it that way, but obviously I'll do it kind of like in my own way. Like how would like kind of Jack say that? You know what I mean? Like make it appropriate for Jack.
Yeah, and I like that too, because the character of Jack, he and Quint, they do that to begin with. They go to their favorite comics that they either came up with themselves or that they read, or they go to their favorite, cultural touchstones, movies, TV shows, and then they kind of see themselves as their own action heroes. So that definitely works with the character when he has these grand moments, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many. The show is perfect for that kind of thing because like there's so many different references where you kind of actually need to replicate. Some of those line reads. But yeah, like what I was saying was like I'll take inspiration from just like a random show that I just remembered. If a line when I'm recording, if a line reminds me of another line I heard like years ago in a different show, I will try to replicate it, but I won't rip it off. I'll try to put my own spin on it and make sure it's appropriate for if Jack sounds like how would you like I said, how would Jack approach that? Like how would Jack say that so it's appropriate to his character and it doesn't sound wildly out of character.
Yeah, exactly. And then speaking of Jack, kind of while we're on the subject of his growth in season 2, I had a chance to talk to Max earlier today, and we were talking about Jack, and he called him sort of a flawed hero, a hero who does his best, but he makes mistakes along the way. He doesn't necessarily win every battle that he takes on. But what exactly do you think of Jack? What is your kind of take on the character?
Well, at the end of the day, the dude's a kid. He's definitely. I pretty much agree with everything Max says there. He's definitely a flawed hero. He grows along the way. He's always going to be experiencing like new things, new threats, new social situations. And that, might get into some tussles with monsters, might get into some tussles with friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's gonna end up making some mistakes like every kid does, but he hopefully, no spoilers, hopefully end up doing the right thing along the way. You never know. But again, kids do stupid stuff. You never really know. You know what I mean? Like, make mistakes, learn from them, but make sure you learn from them. That's the most important part.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really important to keep in mind, too, that these are the last kids on Earth. There's a bunch of kids doing their best to try to prevent, like, the end of the world after it seems like the world has already ended, but there are worse things maybe on the horizon. Talking about sort of the friend group, but also talking about the new additions to the cast and characters you get in Season 2. Did you get a chance to interact with any of them in real life, outside, either in the studio or just at a convention or anything like that? Any of the new cast members?
Any of the new cast members?
Yeah.
No. They all actually recorded by themselves on their own schedules because of how busy they are. Actually, I think I actually may have said that in our last interview.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you had a chance to like interact with your lead cast at all, and then with the new cast members coming on.
My lead cast I have. Monte Hernandez and I are really good friends, and Charlie Demers records with me in Vancouver, so I've interacted with him plenty.
Right.
Garland, I've actually never met in person. Who plays Clint?
Well, hopefully after
Garland's
the quarantine, you guys
can. I've actually never met in person.
Yeah.
So talking about maybe the new cast members a little bit, I mean, obviously they're pop culture icons. So what is it like to just be in the same show with, Keith David and Bruce Campbell and Mark Hamill, Rosario Dawson, Catherine O'Hara are kind of the biggest names that are coming. So when you heard that you were getting those names to kind of come join the show, what was your reaction?
I mean, I was thrilled. I was incredibly psyched. At that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to be actually recording with them.
Right.
But since I didn't end up recording with them, I was like, well, that's still really cool. Just the fact that I'll be able to be in it with them. Keith David, who plays Thrall in the show, he's also in The Thing. He's in They Live, and what I know him best from is he plays the Arbiter in the Halo series.
Sure. Yeah.
So. So the way I thought about it, it's like, oh my God, I get to be trained by the Arbiter. That's sick. And also he's Spawn from the you guys remember Spawn?
Oh, definitely.
The Todd McFarlane's comic series? Yeah, of course Spawn as well. He actually just voiced him for the newest Mortal Kombat game. But yeah, no, it's cool because what this new season's kind of about is Thrall kind of he wants to help Jack become the warrior he wants to be. He gives him this bestiary, which not only helps the greater good. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give any specific spoilers. I'm just going off what the trailer says. But not only does it help with the greater good, but it could potentially in Jack's eyes help him become a better leader along the way. Maybe be kind of be like Thrall, because Thrall is he's the big warrior leader of the monster group at Joe's Pizza. So he kind of looks up to him, and there's that. And then Bartle is Mark Hamill, who I've actually been in two different projects with, and I've actually never met Mark Hamill, but I would very much like to, obviously. And he's kind of this old, he's this old dude. He's kind of wise and with he's very very magic wizard-ish, and he's kind of suspicious a little bit. Some may be up with him, some might not be. We don't really know, but we'll have to see. He's very no nonsense for sure. And then Skelka's Catherine O'Hara's character. Skelka's great because Skelka talks in broken English.
Right.
So Skelka is very caveman brutish, or cavewoman, I guess, in this sense, brutish, like me hit with stick, unga bunga, like stuff like that. Obviously, I'm like paraphrasing, and she doesn't actually say that. But yeah, Skelka's hilarious. I'm actually looking forward to finally seeing Skelka on screen. And then Chef is also another one I'm excited for, because Chef actually is the one I was talking about earlier, that Bruce Campbell plays, who gets to cook with Dirk. And what's great is that Dirk kind of like uses Dirk and like Chef kind of get into this friendly kind of like friendly banter about cooking, and Dirk kind of becomes kind of like Chef's protege a little bit, and they'll end up kind of like fusing their foods together, like Chef will make like a monster dish, Dirk will kind of like maybe like make like a human dish. They'll be like, no, this is how you do it, kind of thing. So that their banter is great. I'm excited for people to see that.
And speaking of stuff that you're excited for people to see, do you have maybe a favorite moment, without giving away too many spoilers, or maybe a specific episode in season 2 that you want viewers to like keep an eye out for? Just any particular favorites of yours?
Pretty much the entirety of the last episode of this season is my favorite. There's also an episode. Again, I don't want to give too much away, but there's like this great. There's this great like training section of a certain episode that you actually saw a bit of it at the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
The I'll do anything to protect my friends. That is from the episode I'm talking about. But there's this great training section with Jack and Thrall that I really enjoy. And I'm excited for people to see that. That's one of my favorite episodes I recorded. That and the season 1 finale. It's book 2, but it's technically, by all accounts, it's season 1, because the first thing that was released by Netflix was actually a special.
Right.
You know, fun fact about that. That was originally supposed to be 3 separate episodes, but I remember thinking to myself, this actually worked really well as like a special altogether, and that's what they ended up doing. They ended up making it a special, so smart move.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the way it kind of laid out too. Now in season 2, you get more of a traditional kind of season with 10 episodes, but it was a great sort of introduction to the world, and now you guys get to play in that sandbox a lot more. You get a bigger playground to mess around in.
Exactly.
Before I run out of time with you, I definitely want to make a mention of a project we talked about last time, but you couldn't talk too much about it because it wasn't out. And that is SmilingFriends. You teased it the last time, and now it was out on Adult Swim very recently. How did that come about, and what exactly did you and your brother play in that short?
So, SmilingFriends is actually, this is actually going to be a really interesting story. This is a Collider exclusive, but SmilingFriends has been in the works since before I got Last Kids on Earth.
Oh, cool.
I remember maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, I talked to Zach Hadel and Michael. We were talking to Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack at a dinner, and they were saying like they wanted to do. I think they were saying they wanted to do a project together. They weren't really sure what, but they wanted to like have us involved, and they were kind of just like spitballing ideas to us. Then eventually, the Bible to SmilingFriends was written. They got us involved. And I remember we recorded SmilingFriends January of last year. And we got involved basically because we're like huge fans of Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack.
Yep.
Zach Hadel's YouTube name goes by Psychic Pebbles, and Michael Cusack. They laid out the groundwork. They showed us the scripts, or the script, sorry. And they gave us our characters. So we played the Bleeblies.
That's what
together.
I thought. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we played the purple creatures that end up like invading everything and like going nuts. We originally recorded like way more material for the Bleeblies, so who knows that like if it ends up, you know, hopefully there'll be more, but like maybe they'll use like more of the Bleebly stuff we recorded. And because I remember I actually ended up recording a lot. And then Finn plays the guy in the wall who is on like his computer.
Yeah.
And they actually, what's funny is they actually shifted Finn to be lower, so you can never tell it's him. My mom couldn't even tell it was him at first.
That's funny.
Until we told her. And then I play Pinn's cousin, Graham Nelly.
Yeah, the skateboarder. Yeah.
Be like he's a tech deck champion, but now he's kind of fallen on hard times. Exactly, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was one of the most fun recording sessions I've ever had. I just recorded it in my room.
Oh, cool.
Like upstairs, actually. Like I'm upstairs right now. And I remember, like, we had to. I'll give you an example of like some extra stuff we recorded. So like we had to record some like drowning sounds, just like drowning or like some drowning sounds, drowning electrocution sounds. So I grabbed like a bottle of water, and like I would just like gargle the water, and like as it was a mess. I was a mess. It was just like spilling down my shirt. So I just make sounds like stuff like that, and. I would, and oh man, like we were just laughing, we were just cracking up. It was so much fun. Yeah, we got more than that. We got more crazy situations than just that. But that's all you're gonna get.
Fair enough.
That's all you're gonna get for now.
That was more than I expected, so I appreciate that.
I think, unfortunately, I'm about out of time with you today. So I just want to say thanks again for talking to us about Last Kids on Earth Season 2. Looking forward to the release and the premiere, so everybody else out there gets a chance to see it. And then, looking forward to talking to you in the future about hopefully more episodes to come. So thanks again.
Okay, sweet. Thanks.